Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's Sunday. Sunday. And it's that college football guy here with another video. Well, the week that was, this week in college football, the college football weekly recap show. I spent most of this week doing, as you know, for the videos, doing about what are passable candidates for what school. But there is some stuff that happened. The biggest one, of course, is the House settlement, $2.8 billion. A ridiculous amount of money. Now, I can go into the figures of who's going to do what. Greg Flugard, Peek Around the Corner, and the Big Mountain Podcast, along with a bunch of other people, did plenty of videos on how and this thing is broken down, who has to pay what. Those two, and specifically, check those channels out. They have a lot of great information on them. What does it mean, though? Well, everybody says that NIL is gone. As it's presently constructed, yes, but not exactly, because it becomes what it should have been in the first place. Endorsement deals. An endorsement deal you can take from one place to the other, just like the National Football League, Major League Baseball, the NBA, whatever. You sign an endorsement deal with a product, the product's with you, not with your team. And if you go from one to the other, you got to deal with Mercedes-Benz or Coca-Cola or Pepsi or Google or whatever. The deal goes with you. That's what this is going to be. It's not. Now, there could be local endorsement deals. There could be done like that. Like you have to go make public appearances down at the furniture. You're going to pay $25,000 a year to make 6 to 10 appearances at a furniture store downtown in your hometown or wherever you're at. That could be a part of an NIL deal. But that's going to be an endorsement deal. Your actual name, image, and likeness will be actually done through the university. That's going to be changing. Does that change NIL? As I said that. But one thing about here is that everybody's saying, oh, the Super League's going to happen. Actually, no, it's not. Everybody said the Super League is going to be, the biggest interpretation everybody says it's a group of schools is going to break off of the NCAA and form their own. No, they're not. Because Senator Ted Cruz said the fact that because they have made a settlement that they're actually paying players, just like NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, every professional sports league has an antitrust exemption so they can't get sued for what they paid before. NCAA wants to have that same antitrust exemption, and you have to pay the athletes to do it. So they do pay the athletes, and the NCAA will be allowed to get that. Now, if college football breaks away, that doesn't help anything else in the NCAA, and they're still going to want it. So it'd be in the best interest for everybody involved, time being anyway, to be together to convince Congress, and there's some powerful people in Congress who, now that they're paying players, are behind it on giving them an antitrust exemption, which means all these other lawsuits would go away. If it's done in time. And Congress may decide it's only from this period on or whatever, but they're going after that hard. So do I think a Super League of groups breaking away from it? No. As other people have said on here, what I've been saying myself, no sources, myself saying, we're looking at a new subdivision. Charlie Baker led off a new subdivision where revenue sharing is going to be at that level. We want there. Can revenue sharing? I did a video earlier about the Big 12 and the ACC, the G5, all the troubles they're going to be in. But that's not the case here. I mean, you look at. I think what we're going to have, like I've said before, we're going to have the schools that can afford revenue sharing at that higher level. Are all institutions required to have revenue sharing? Yes, they're going to. But is there going to be possibly different levels of it, where you only have to spend so much? And the question is that no one's asking, and I have not said anything about it, is there supposed to be a floor? Because some are saying, oh, they have to, you could spend up to 20 to 30 million. Do you have to spend $1? Is there a floor? A minimum you have to spend? I haven't heard anything. Does that mean the minimum is zero? I hope not, but it's going that way. And as for everybody saying, oh, the players can move, the transfer portal is dead. You understand? Because you sign on starting next year, revenue sharing, you're signing a deal for a revenue sharing agreement with your university. And some universities are going to be able to pay more than others, just like teams pay more than others. So you're going to go in and get down there and sign a 3 or 4 year deal. Just like I said before, pro players, you'd be playing for the San Francisco 49ers, and all of a sudden you don't like the way you're playing there and realizing you can get a spot in Baltimore. You can't leave tomorrow to go to Baltimore. You're under contract. And everybody who comes in for these agreements, they've already said you're going to be a term, basically, and they have described as not an employee, a full employee, but a term contract employee, maybe the way we're going here, which is exactly what it is in the pros. You sign a 3-year deal with the New York Jets. You sign a 3-year deal with the Minnesota Timberwolves. You sign a 3-year deal with the Philadelphia Flyers, with the Los Angeles Dodgers, wherever. You work for that team for that period of time, unless they release you or you're traded. Now, trades are not going to happen, but getting released, yes, that could happen. But transfer portal, as we know it, going away. Is NIL still happening? It's going to be a lot more structured. And could there have to be the fact that you're going to have to actually, part of this, which is part of the rumors that's been going around, the NCAA wants, is to have a rules regarding NIL in terms of you don't get paid for just showing up. You have to do an endorsement deal with this place and whatever. Is there market values of how much you can make? They want to put caps on it. No, you can't put caps on it. But it's documented how much you're paying. And it's going to be publicly known, which means if the owner thinks he doesn't have to pay it on his taxes, the owner business, it's a promotional expense. Now, you're still going to have to show it off on your taxes. Some may not, most of them should do it, but maybe not. But that's what's going on with that point. The other channels done a lot more in depth, but that's what I'm thinking. Like I said, the NIL is going to go away, but it's going to be basically what it should have been, like the endorsement deals. Like I think it was Bryce Young, the coach they was talking about, had a deal with Mercedes-Benz, had $2 million in endorsement deals, but they were major companies. And, that's basically what it should be, and that's what he wanted it to be. We'll see how this goes. The Jaden Rashada mess. Oh, boy. I'm suing Florida because I want my money back for a deal that wasn't happening. Okay, hold up, Slick. You signed an NIL agreement and committed to the University of Miami. They were paying you dollars. You're suing Florida and Billy Napier and other people for 13.8 million, I think it was. 4 million less, 9.8, whatever it is how much Miami offered you. You had already committed and signed. You backed out of that in order to go to the Florida deal. Florida, it came time for the first payment to show up. They didn't make it. Then you went to Arizona State. Now you're at Georgia. I don't think he's got a shot on this one. Just call it a hunch. It's the Wild Wild West. I don't think he's going to win this case. That's all I have to say about that one. James Franklin. Man. A former doctor. I didn't write down the doctor's name. Accused both Penn State head coach James Franklin and the AD, Sandy Barber, of pushing to have an individual medically disqualified because they had attempted suicide. And now we're getting contradictory reports, whether this is accurate, whether this is not accurate. I honestly don't know how to take this one because I need more information, because one person say so is not enough for me. There's been too many times when one person has lied, and you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people. Okay, now we got something here. But right now with just one, I'm not holding much stock in this for now. I'm going to hold up until I see more and until he gets convicted of something. That's pretty much all you're going to hear me on James Franklin. I'm a big believer in innocent until proven guilty. You're not criminally proven in a court of law. I don't think you should go anywhere. It's like we had the thing with the player, I forgot where he was at, who was accused of R-ing somebody, can't say the word, but, or essay is the term I guess we have to use now, someone, and he got kicked off the team and he got signed. That was Colorado or wherever it was who signed him. And it's like, Okay, do you have proof of it? Do you have documentation? Nothing. Yeah, he was accused of this. Accused by the person. Yes, his criminal charge has been filed. No. Then there's no case. Nothing can be said until it happens. Because I've watched athletes' lives be destroyed by a woman who made false accusations. Now, does this actually happen? Oh, yes, it does. And a lot of them, this is the one thing that I really wish the media would do, but they're not doing it because they care about headlines and they don't care about the truth. If you're going to publicly accuse somebody of this crime, you're going to do the follow-up to say what happened. Because some of these cases, you hear about it and then you don't hear about the results. Some of them hear about the case was dropped 2 years later. An agreement was made. No charges were filed. Charges were dropped at a community service. No federal criminal charges at all. Just agreed to actually, it was like a misdemeanor. It wasn't even related to that. It was for something else for the horrible charge. All these other things, accuse somebody's name for it, but not do the follow-up. And as a Tennessee fan, I remember the case of A.J. Johnson and Michael Williams, who both were accused of essaying a woman, kicked off the team, went to court, found not guilty. Because it was proven the fact that she made it up in court. We've had cases where athletes got kicked off the team and they're suing the woman for damages, or their woman's being put in. Are there women who have been and said absolutely? This is not that stupid, but the fact is, I want a criminal conviction. I said before when it came to some of these cases that perhaps you need to put up a bond. The university, you want to kick the kid off the team? Put a bond up. Put a bond up. Whatever, millions of dollars, a couple $1,000,000, whatever. If the athlete in question did something, you can use that $2 million to settle with the individual. That way they don't sue the university. Or $500,000, whatever it is. You can use that money out of that university. If you kick him off the team and he's proven to be innocent, that's the down payment of what you owe him for destroying his life. So, think about it. All right, now, went off on a tangent, and I apologize for that. Okay, last one. I got a great video that came out by Numbskull News. Love this guy. I love this guy. He doesn't take any time for it. Hard-working man, every day, doing what he can do to get his day going. And talks about college football and other sports, primarily college football. And has said what he said for a long time, which is I've kind of been saying. But he said the fact there's a possibility that the Big Ten and the SEC, once Fresno State and Clemson are done, don't add anybody from North Carolina on. It's a great video. He just came out yesterday. Actually, earlier, 8 hours ago, but earlier today, I think. Or 8 hours ago, but yesterday it came out on Saturday. Please check that video out. Check his channel out because he's got some great stuff on there. But the thing is that everybody's under assumption. I've seen a lot of people, oh my goodness, all over X, all over Twitter, saying the SEC is going to grab 2 schools, and then the Big 12, then the Big 10 is going to grab 2 schools, and then the Big 12 is going to grab 6 to 8 schools. Who's paying for this, stupid? Who? And for all the ACC fans out there, and I got a lot of them on my channel, this is the one thing that some of you just do not get, and I really wish you would. It doesn't matter what you think you're worth, what you appear to be worth. That's irrelevant. The only thing that matters is what they're willing to pay you. If they're willing to pay you $50 million, you get $50 million. If they're willing to pay you 20, what you think you're worth may not be the case, or they could be lowballing you. And then you could try to pull a Pac-12 and hit the open market and see how that goes. And for the couple of them that are still blowing me up on DMs on Twitter, look, Florida State and Clemson are gone, okay? Just, it's over. They're gone. You're down to 16 schools, 15 for football. I have said, and I still say this, to cover yourself in the future, you need to add 2 schools if ESPN wants you to. ESPN says, hey, wonder what you want to do with these two schools. Should we add some schools in? You ignored them and you added Stanford, Cal, and SMU. You might not want to ignore them this time. I want to say, hey, perhaps we overstepped our bounds, but were you interested in us being expanding? And if so, would you have any candidates that you think that be a good value and a good fit for the conference? We'd really like your recommendation. That's where they should go with it. Where will they do it? I don't know. But here's the one thing. Nobody passed North Carolina. And ESPN may not want to pay for anybody to come in the SEC. Okay, stop. The SEC schedule for the next 2 years is trash. Absolute trash. Bottom of the bin. Horrible schedule for next year's. I hate it. And basically, you want to know next year's schedule for the SEC? Forget the non-cons. Take those out of the question. All the conference games, yeah, reverse them. As in, if you're home this year, you're away next year. If you're away this year, you're home next year. Same conference opponents. Why do we have this Mickey Mouse trash dung heap of a schedule? Because in my opinion, the SEC is trying to call the ESPN's bluff. At the light here, but going away. But anyway, here's what I'm talking about. The SEC and ESPN have been odds over something. ESPN wants 9 conference games. Everybody's saying with the schools you have, you need to have 9 conference games. That's fine. But ESPN doesn't want to pay for it. Okay, you want us to go through the ringer, but you're not going to give up any money? You know what you're going to get? This Mickey Mouse schedule for the next 2 years. So ESPN, what I've been hearing, through my little low-level sources, which are, most of them are low-level boosters, I'll admit that. People I've been talking to have been flat out saying is the fact that ESPN wants the 9th game, and they said, without the money, we're not going to give it to you. And they said, well, we'd be interested in not only paying for the 9th game, but paying more per game for all 9 games if you could provide us some additional content. 2 more teams. And only 2 more teams, because their money's tight right now. Now, as for Big Ten expanding and SEC expanding, if a second round does happen, it's going to be 2031 at the earliest with the Big 12 folds, unless the ACC goes apart. I'm still in. I've said this before about the ACC. There's not enough brands. And I've repeated myself on this before, so I'm going to say this real quick before we get in the last bit of the thing here. Oregon State and Washington State are the bookmark for who's worth value in the ACC, to me. They're great schools. They have value, but not enough to get into the Big 12 or anywhere else. So, who is better in the ACC than Oregon State and Washington State? Obviously, Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, NC State, because they've been top 25 consistent in basketball, not Oregon State and Washington State. Louisville, Miami, maybe Duke. That's it. 7 only. But we will see, won't we? But, yeah. And also the last piece of business here is the one thing that kind of surprised me was TNT and Turner Sports picking up games for the college football playoff. The whole deal is as to the 2031-2032, but it's a 5-year. The first tier of its bonus is out, but it's basically a 5-tier deal. They're going to get 2 of the first round games every year for 5 years. And from 2026 to 2028, they're also going to get 2 of the quarterfinal games for 3 years. So it's like 2025, they get 2 first rounders. 2026, they're going to get 2 first rounders and 2 quarters for 3 years. And then 2029, back to 2. And then the last few years of the deal, we'll see what happens, which is the remainder of the playoff because it has an open-ended adjustment. Crazy. So that's the week that was in college football for all the major stuff that's going on. Hopefully I succinctly put down some of it. Again, the other YouTubers I'm going to shout out here who have great channels who covered some of the stuff on here that I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like I said, Peek Around the Corner with Greg Pfluger. I'm talking about the Big Mountain Podcast. I'm talking about Numbskull News. Check their channels out. They do great stuff. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching the video and enjoying this Sunday evening, hopefully the weekly tradition of doing a recap of the week that was in college football. Season-wise, I'm going to do a little bit of a different formula for that, but it's still going to be on Sundays because, like, nobody's really doing anything. But anyway, thanks, everybody, for watching. Do me a favor, smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm of the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. There's a lot to comment about. I want to see them down in the comments. Share the video if you want to. And if you haven't done it already, do me a favor. Watch some of my other videos. If you want to, subscribe to the channel. Hey, we're getting past 580. We're getting up there. It's on the way to 600, on the way to 1,000. So we're getting there. So again, thanks everybody for watching. If you want to follow me on X, Twitter, my link will be in the description. Thanks everybody for watching. Be safe out there. Enjoy your Sunday, and please be good to each other.